It can be difficult to find a piece of top sirloin that still has the fat layer on it, a traditional picanha cut. But you can substitute. And in fact, I like this version better because you get a little more depth of flavor and tenderness. This is an eye of a round, and it still has the fat cap on it. So I'm going to use this just like a picanha. It's just going to be thicker and actually more tender. So we're going to start by scoring this fat. This part's really easy. All you're going to do is just cut a few times into this fat, about 3/4 of the way into it, and then turn it and go across it like so. You don't want to cut all the way into the meat. You're just cutting into the fat and just barely into the tissue itself so that you can get flavor down in there. And also so this fat will render into the meat. Now before we cook this meat, I need to get some flavor into it. So I need a few things. I'm going to actually make a marinade, and I'm going to use some beef rub. And it really doesn't matter what you use. Use any kind of rub you like. I like this stuff because it has a little bit of a spice. Okay, there's no other way to put it. You get those Caribbean style flavors in there that really bring out the profile of what you want picanha to taste like. Oh, it smells so good. And there's a lot of cumin in it too. And cumin's always a good choice. So what I'm going to do is I've got a half of a white onion, a small red pepper, bell pepper, and an Italian pepper. And then I've got some white wine, just dry white wine. This is a Chenin Blanc I've got left over. It doesn't matter what you use, but it needs to be dry, not sweet. And then a barbecue sauce. And in this case, I'm using this Kinder's barbecue. You might also consider at this point some olive oil, but we'll do that before we do the actual meat itself. And I'll show you. Okay, so here's the meat. I'm just going to spray some olive oil on this and just kind of roll it around a little bit. This is going to create a binding agent for our spices more than anything else. Okay. Then we will take our spices and just liberally coat this and roll it around. You're just basically doing a meat rub at this point. And let this just rest for at least a half an hour. And what you're going to do is make the rest of your marinade to put on it before you cook it. So I have finally chopped my onions, or my onion and my peppers. I did not seed the Italian pepper because there's not very many seeds in it anyway, but I did seed the bell pepper. All of that's just going to go into this bowl with the meat. And then I'm just kind of spread it around so it's all over the place, especially on the counter. And we're going to take some barbecue sauce. It really doesn't matter how much. I'm just going to kind of drizzle it over the top. Then I'm going to take my white wine, and this is probably about 8 or 9 ounces. I'm just going to pour that in there. And again, it doesn't matter how much. Don't worry about specific measurements with this. It's just about getting these flavors to sit and combine over this piece of meat. Now, one more thing. I'm going to let this sit and soak some of this up for about 30 to 45 minutes. Then before I put it on the grill, I'm going to add more of that dry rub seasoning because I want that to be the last flavor that goes into it. We're going to cook this, smoke it at 225 until it reaches an internal temperature in the very center of about 130 degrees, so medium rare. I want it to pull just before medium rare. That way the ends will be medium to medium well. Then you'll have a medium to medium rare and a medium rare in the center. The smoker is up to temperature, and I actually went to 230 instead of 225 so to stay balanced. I'm going to go ahead and take this out, get most of this stuff off of here, add a little seasoning, and put it on the smoker fat side up. Those of you who've watched some of my other videos may notice I have a new grill. So the short version is the other one kicked the bucket. Everything went out all at once. But when you use them as much as I do, these things are bound to happen. I tried to repair it, finally gave up and just bought another one. This new one has a few more features that I do like. If you're unfamiliar with the Pit Boss Pro series, there's some really great stuff built into this, including the fact that it now has 4 wheels, which is incredibly convenient for moving it around. It also has a bigger hopper and a fully digital system that is all built into Wi-Fi that you can control with your phone, which is pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and get this on. Oh, and the grates are much nicer. Heavy ceramic. Really a better built machine overall, quite frankly. All right, so we're going to put this on. I want to put the fat side up, and then I'm going to put my probe as far to the center as possible. A lot of seasoning on purpose because I want that flavor cooked in here. I'm just going to kind of press this down a little bit so it holds in the early stages of cooking. And go ahead and run the probe into the middle, right in the center. And we should instantly see that temperature number come down in doing so. All right. We're going to close this, let it do its thing. There really isn't anything to do now except let it cook and figure out what kind of vegetables we want to make. The most important thing here is when this hits 125, you need to make sure that you're ready to take it off because it's going to go from 125 to 135 in no time. 25. But we'll let it cook. Once it gets to 125, we'll come out and check it. Actually, probably check it before that and move it around a little bit, but take it off at 120, between 125 and 130. Absolutely do not let it go beyond 130. So I took it off the smoker as soon as it hit 125 degrees. And now I've let it rest for a little bit, and you can see some liquid has come off of it, and that's perfect because I'm actually going to make sauce out of that. But we're going to cut this, and it smells incredible. And just take a look at the inside real quick. So I want to cut it, just eyeball it and cut it right about the center. This is the fat side. So I'm just going to cut it right here. Okay. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. And we've cut just a small slice out of there. Just to taste it. Yeah, that's an amazing flavor. You get the rush of the spices, the depth of the meat, and it's so tender. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to make a sauce to go with this, and sorry, chewing. I'm going to make sauce to go with this. I'm going to do a kind of a bourbon reduction cream sauce just to give it some oomph. And I made mashed potatoes, and then we're going to figure out what kind of vegetable it needs. But that's what it looks like. You can cut it thin and make sandwiches. You can cut it thick and make it a steak, which is kind of what I'm going to do. Absolutely incredible. So if you want to try something different that people will enjoy with a piece of meat that you usually turn into a roast, give this a try. Until next time, if there's a recipe you'd like me to try, if you have questions, whatever, shoot me an email, bill@kansasflamingochef.com, And I'll see you on the next one. Eat fabulous.